What's up, guys? So today we were going to be introducing a new car and a new face to the channel. This is my friend Steven's 2015 Ford Fiesta ST. It's kind of weird saying that. I'm used to saying Focus, but yes, this is his Fiesta ST, and it's kind of hard to get into detail about everything that's done to it. I mean, it's a bigger turbo, it's a built engine. You know, we can get into it in a later video, but for right now, we're gonna get into the installation of the Guardian Angel by Stratified Automotive. Right here, Stratified. So we're gonna be basically walking you through all the steps that you have to take to install this correctly and get the most benefit out of it. So yeah, let's get into it. And first thing we're gonna do, pop the hood and kind of show you where we are right now. We kind of map out the harness and where we're going to be routing it through the engine bay, and we just got an idea of what we're going to be dealing with. So yeah, let's get to that.
Okay, guys, kind of lay out what we've got going on here. I pre-laid out the harness because I had to figure out where everything is going to go. The engine bay is kind of cramped with all the aftermarket stuff. Normally you put it on top of the fuse box, but I've already got the Stratified auxiliary fuel controller there running my port aux fuel, so I had to kind of get creative as to where to put it. Through a little bit of time and deliberation, we've decided we're going to hide it actually up in the wiper cowl. So it's going to sit basically right here, so we can adjust everything by just popping off the wiper cowl cover, and it makes it fairly easy to access and hidden at the same time in case I just, you know, don't want the unnecessary attention from the wonderful California Highway Patrol. I'm sure we've all got the fear of the ref ticket in us. It's not something we want to experience. So to lay out what we got here, it's a fairly simple installation. There's 4 wires and an LED. Power, they give you a wonderful add a fuse, ready to rock, easy to install. We'll go through how to hide that in the fuse box as well. The ground, literally we're just gonna put that on our ground lug here. Real easy again. We have a out, which will go to the auxiliary fuel at a later date, because I don't know which wire this one goes to exactly. But this is the, it's gonna be a 5-volt reference in case your auxiliary fuel doesn't turn on. It'll tell the car to dump the boost as well. This is the one we're gonna be concerned with today, because we're using this for the 4-bar map sensor feature. This is basically gonna replace our OEM map sensor and make the Guardian Angel our new map sensor output. The last wire coming out of it, or set of wires coming out, is just an LED. It's gonna basically show you what's going on with it. Basically tell you if your Guardian Angel is on, off, basically the status. It'll blink as it's getting ready, and then once it's on, it'll go to a solid state. For now, we're gonna probably hide it in here somewhere like this, just so I can see it when I pop the hood. I just don't know where I wanna put it in the interior yet, so we're gonna save that for a later date as well. I just have a lot going on in there. I don't know where I wanna put it. Remove the headlights, remove the wiper cowl, just gain a little more access because I want to hide some of these wires. Like I'm going to coil this up, hide it under here. I've got the aux fuel wires under there all zip tied together. I'll slide that out in a second and access the coil and add this to it, have that pointed straight up. Hide this down there as well for the auxiliary output. And we're going to be drilling a hole in the wiper cowl. I've already kind of taken the liberty of cutting this one up a little bit for some heat distribution, but that's another story for another day. This car's got some heat issues. All right, popped one hole in here though for one of our lines to go in, and I'm gonna put another one probably around here for our other boost line. The Guardian Angel is gonna require 2 vacuum lines, one going in back here for the bypass valve, one going out. This is supposed to run off a manifold vacuum source, which I luckily already have because this thing has everything under the sun. This is the Turbo Smart vacuum port or vacuum adapter for this. I've already got it running to the gauge in the interior and the blow-off valve I have. The way we're gonna do this, we're gonna pop this one off. This is gonna go loop back around to the bypass valve out. And then this one, we're gonna run another line that loops around from the source here to the bypass valve in. So we're gonna basically move this one and make it reference this way and around to kind of hide that blue wire or green wire. And making for a clean install. I can't stand the idea of having a random green wire run across my engine bay.
Like that.
Like that. I can't do that stuff. Maybe when you're like 16 and you're like, oh, that's my first modded car. But no, we don't play that here. We do stuff proper, as you can see. Everything's done right. We've got our wonderful OEM like wire loom tape to hide everything. A must have if you're gonna do this stuff right. Soldering iron, solder. So hold on for a second and we'll make it happen.
All right, so just for some clarity, guys. So the factory map sensor is right here. So we're basically going to be using this as the new map sensor, because on board is actually a 4-bar map sensor. So that's gonna give us our adjustability right here, right, for the boost pressure. And then this is actually pretty cool because it gives us adjustability for our blow-off valve, I guess sensitivity, you could say, or how early or late it engages. So yeah, so I mean, once we get it all situated and figured out, we'll get you guys kind of on track with us with how we're gonna route everything. But all in all, it's actually pretty simple when you have it all in front of you. So yeah, let's get to getting these disconnected. Boom, and then rerouting all of our lines to where we're gonna have them.
Okay guys, catching you up with where we're at here. We've ran both of our boost or blow-off valve lines, being manifold vacuum, and then the actual vacuum source going to the blow-off valve, which is this line, all set up now. So basically, we're pulling off the manifold here where the blow-off valve used to pull. We added a new line that loops all the way around. We put a nice hole in the cowl so it hides up here, comes around and into the back of the Guardian Angel. Now we've got the wires coming out. We're gonna take the green wire, which is gonna go to map sensor reference. We're gonna run it exactly along the same path as this basically. It's gonna end up spliced to, I believe, the green and yellow wire, if I remember correctly, right here. And we're gonna cut that off probably right about here. This becomes basically a dummy plug. It's gonna reference it for the positive and negative voltage coming to it, but our actual map signal is gonna be referenced from the Guardian Angel, and we're basically using this to plug the manifold in as a dummy sensor when we're done. So basically we've got to wrap this to this so we don't have the green wire and the random vacuum line going across the engine bay, and do some splicing and soldering. Not too much more to do, and then lastly we'll hide all this stuff over here. Easy stuff, so that's a couple zip ties and 5 minutes of my time. All of which will be explored at a later date. Anyways, let's get down to wrapping these wires up. Okay guys, now we'll flash forward a little bit. We've installed a couple more things here. We're getting to the actual splicing and soldering part of things, where we do not use butt connectors because we don't play that game around here. This is the signal wire coming out of the Guardian Angel. This is the signal wire coming to the PCM as part of the original OEM harness. This is gonna be your blue and green, if you can see it. Mine isn't the best for reference because my harness has been hacked and cut apart a million times because I have aftermarket everything. But we're gonna be soldering these three together. This one is the map sensor reading from auxiliary fuel. This is the harness, and this is what is our Guardian Angel, which is plumbed into the vacuum source here, looped around up into the Guardian Angel, which is our new map sensor now, and what is gonna displace all of our map signal to the PCM. It's gonna be mounted here like this. And then once the vacuum comes out, it's gonna run to the blow-off valve like that. So basically we've got everything ran at this point. All we've got to do is solder this wire up and start tidying everything up and load up our tune, and we're good to go. Okay guys, we're gonna move on to finally soldering this up. And we're gonna start by putting our heat shrink over. Step everybody always forgets the first time around. As you can see, I've already hooked these wires, so this is the second take, sorry guys. So I'm gonna show you guys a soldering technique that was taught to me by a good friend of mine, Jason. He solders batteries for NASA. This is pretty much the best technique in my opinion for if you're soldering wires. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take your wire, you're gonna loop it over, hook it over like this, like so, into like a hook. And take the other wire you're using, you're gonna hook it over like so. Now basically what you're trying to do here by having these two hooks is have a good strong mechanical connection before you solder it. So you're gonna take these two, they're gonna shake hands like so, you squeeze them together, poked me. Twist it up, now you're ready to add your solder. I like it like that. Be quoting Cardi B here. Now basically soldering is almost like welding, just on a much smaller scale. So you're just gonna need a really good iron. Always advised by a nice soldering iron. It makes this a lot easier. See how quick it melts that solder? Okay guys, just to keep you caught up on where we're at, I've connected the ground here on the main ground lug. I've got a couple other things grounded there right now, being my port fuel and my water temp gauge. We've got the fuse added in here in the fuse box. Yeah, my fuse box is kind of a nightmare, guys. I'm sorry yet again. A lot of aftermarket components done as well as possible. But it still makes for kind of some fun times. Everything's closed up in there. We've got our extra wire being the fail-safe, being the blue, and our LED kind of bundled up here. I'm gonna tuck it in here between the battery and the fuse box with this facing up so you can kind of see it. We'll put a couple zip ties in so it sits here like this, and that way we can make sure everything's armed and good to go. We've also got our signal wire connected now over here. We're gonna work on wrapping that harness there with some of this beautiful wire loom tape I got, and make it look like this one does, where you can't even really tell we've added anything. It kind of blends in at this point. It just looks like another OEM harness. You know, we got to make it so this stuff hides in wonderful California.
So as you can see, we got everything kind of buttoned up besides, you know, the engine cover. But we kind of want to go over everything that is, you know, integrated into, I guess you can say, the OEM Plus harness. This right here is that vacuum line we talked about earlier that goes to the back of the Guardian Angel. And then we tucked away all of our soldering work over here regarding the map sensor. So it's all, you know, looks relatively OEM if you don't really know what you're looking at. I mean, if you have this car, you know what the engine bay looks like, but you know, somebody else who doesn't really have a great knowledge of the car would see this and not really think much of it. But we kind of wanted to go for that sleek look, kind of OEM inspired look. But even here, you can see this is our little LED just peeking its way up through the engine bay here, kind of, and all the other wires are just tucked away nice and neat. So now the finishing touch would just be to put this guy on, right? With everything together, including the engine cover, I mean, this is the final product of the full installation. Only thing extra right here that you can see is the vacuum line leading to the back, and maybe even the wires, but it's literally it. So install's not too complicated. Just make sure, you know, you have some time dedicated to doing it, especially if you haven't really dealt with anything like this regarding either electronics or, you know, like soldering, or even understanding where the vacuum lines route into the Guardian Angel. But yeah, we're going to upload the tune that Steven has prepared for himself for this installation, so that we can go out and drive and see what she can do. It's gonna be my first time personally taking a ride in this car, and I'm actually pretty excited to do it. So yeah, we're gonna upload the tune and we'll be right back with you guys.
It's on. I hear it clicking. Okay, we're gonna give it our first start after installing our Stratified Guardian Angel V3. Hopefully once we start, that LED under the light, under the dash should stop flashing right about now. on the ethanol map. Ready? Okay guys, now you've kind of seen the finished product, I'm going to explain to you why we've added the Guardian Angel to this car. For me, there's only actually one reason, which was I needed a bigger map sensor. The factory map sensor maxes out at 28 pounds of boost. This thing will spike on its current tune about 28, holds 26. We're still in the tuning process, even, you know, it did seem pretty fast on those pulls, but we still probably have another, I don't know, 50, 60 horsepower on the board. This thing should be making 32 to 35 pounds of boost when all is said and done. Right now it's, like I said, like it spikes 28, holds 26, so there's a lot of power left on the board. The other benefits to it though are, it actually, after driving it, I've noticed it's made my blow-off valve respond much better. It's much more crisp. It doesn't seem like it hangs open when I'm on D-cell. Pretty cool actually. B, if it detects overboost, it's gonna basically hold your blow-off valve open and dump all of that boost. So if you get one of those situations where your wastegate's stuck closed, your motor's not gonna blow. That's pretty nice to have. Also, if you tie in the auxiliary output like we're going to, it'll shut down or blow out all the boost in the case of your auxiliary fuel doesn't work, which is another big problem or type situation, because you'd have a lean situation, which would be worst case a motor replacement. The Guardian Angel really wasn't on my radar until my tuner told me basically I needed a better manifold or map sensor on the manifold, at which point he said the real only option was the Guardian Angel, and at $225 you get the map sensor plus all of that added protection. I can't say enough how much of a great product it is, and honestly worth every dime. You can get those at stratifiedauto.com. Look up the Guardian Angel V3 with the 4-bar integrated map sensor. Worth its weight in gold, guys. Anyways, thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in some future content, kind of explain what this build is, and hopefully join these guys at some track days and wrenching on these cars. Thanks guys.